Do the terms boost, blower, or spray sound like items you could pick up at Walmart? On one hand, you might be correct, but to me, they're all references to vehicle engine accessories. I'm going to discuss with you the different types of vehicle engine accessories. We'll discuss naturally aspirated motors, forced induction methods, and fuel additives. First, let's discuss naturally aspirated motors. Natural aspiration basically means to breathe normally, or to operate without a forced induction method. Natural aspirated motors are the basic building block to any forced induction method. Natural aspirated motors operate off of the four basic stages of a motor: intake, compression, ignition, and exhaust. Intake is where where a fuel-air mixture is being sucked into the cylinder head. The piston is then forced upward to compact or compress the fuel-air mixture. That would be your compression cycle. Then, during the ignition cycle, the spark plug ignites the fuel-air mixture, which then forces the piston head down. That's where you create all of your power inside of the motor. The exhaust is where the piston head flows up one more time to exhaust all that air out the exhaust valve. Now to discuss the basic stages of a motor and natural aspirated motors, let's discuss forced induction methods. The two basic types of forced induction are turbochargers and superchargers. Now, turbochargers take that exhaust air that's basically wasted, and we route that forward instead of aft. What we're doing with that exhaust air is we're going to route it through to an impeller and basically spin this impeller and create a vacuum, so to speak. And what we're going to do with that vacuum is suck clean air into the intake plenum and create what we call a boost. Now that boosted air is going to have a better ignition value inside the cylinder. The upside to turbochargers are that you can create them for just about any application you want. The downside to turbochargers are that it takes a little more to do. Turbochargers typically run hotter, so you need to have a better cooling system for both your air that's going through the turbocharger and the oil that's used to lubricate the turbocharger. Now, on the other hand, superchargers can be used. The superchargers operate on the basic same principle. What we're going to do is to create that boost inside the intake plenum. Now, superchargers don't work off of the exhaust method. What we do is basically install a pulley or a wheel into your existing belt system on your motor. And what that's going to do is spin the pulley, which creates a vacuum, which will then create that boosted air inside of your intake plenum, which gives you your better ignition properties. Now, superchargers have upsides and downsides as well. The upside is that it's instantaneous. You don't have to wait for the exhaust air to spool up a turbine in order for you to get that power. It's instantaneous, just like turning on your air conditioner. The downside is that you're using power to make power. You're losing about 5 horsepower per application to create about 25. Now, those aren't exact figures, but they're the basics. Now that we've discussed the forced induction methods, let's discuss fuel additives. The two most common types of fuel additives are nitrous oxide and octane boosters. Nitrous oxide, better known as NOS, is being widely used by tuners and racers, both on the drag race and NASCAR type circuits. Nitrous oxide can be used in two different methods. One is a wet method, which is sprayed directly into the cylinder, or a dry method, which is sprayed into the intake chamber, or into the intake plenum. Now, nitrous oxide can be found on many World Wide Web type stores, and I've seen them available at high-performance racing stores as well. Octane boosters are available everywhere. You can find them at gas stations, you can find them at grocery stores, you can find them at Walmart. Octane boosters basically are supposed to increase the octane rating of the existing gas that's in the fuel tank. Now that I discussed fuel additives, let's review. We discussed the basic 4 stages of a naturally aspirated motor. Then we discussed turbochargers and superchargers and different ways of force induction methods. Then we discussed fuel additives. Now, whether or not you're racing your vehicle or you're using your vehicle for every day-to-day driving, if you're going to modify it, do it safely, and if you're going to drive it, do it safely.